Hey everybody, welcome back to visionrecordingstudios.com and here on my YouTube channel. And today we're taking a look at another great plugin that you should have if you work with live recorded drums. You absolutely want to take a look at this plugin. It's called Auto Align by Sound Radix. Great utility plugin. There's lots of YouTube videos out there on how to use this. Some of my subscribers have asked me about this plugin, so now I'm going to show it to you, show you how I use it. So what Auto Align does is it enables you to it enables the drum kit to all the different mics that you place in the drum kit. A lot of times you're going to have phase issues, and this will align the phasing and get everything back in phase, so it kind of thickens up and beefs up the drum kit, makes things sound more rockin', and it really makes the drums sound tight and compact. You can also use this when you're using multiple mics on any source, such as guitar cabinets. If you had, say, you mic'd up a guitar cabinet with, say, a 57 and a 421 mic, two mics at the same time, you have to be very, very careful that you have the mics placed in such a way so the sound coming out of the speaker hits those mics exactly at the same time, or you're going to have phase issues. This will help correct that problem. So if you're someone who is doing recording of your own, or if, more importantly, if you're not doing the tracking, you're doing a lot of mixing work and you get lots of sessions sent to you via internet or however people do it, as I do, this is a great tool to have because you don't know how things are recorded. You don't know how the mics were placed on the drum kit. And so we're going to take a look at this on a drum kit today, on a full kit. So here's the interface for Auto Align. It's a pretty simple layout, and what we're going to do is we're going to put the Auto Align on the left overhead mic, and then we're going to put everything in phase to that. Okay, that's the way Sound Radix kind of recommends that you do it. So here's the interface. Let me show it to you. So over here you have an input meter and a sidechain meter, which we won't be really using today. The input meter has this little triangle here. This will help us adjust the detect the noise floor, which I'll show you in a second. We have the graphic interface here, which we'll take a look at when we play some audio. We have a send and receive. So what you have to do is we're putting this happens to be the left overhead track. So this is going to be our send channel. So we're going to send from channel 1, and then all the other instances across all the other tracks of the drum kit will be on receive channel 1. So you're sending from the left overhead and you're receiving from all the other tracks, and then it's going to bring everything in phase. Over here, this will not only detect delay, but it'll also detect delay and polarity, which is what we're going to use today on the drums. So it'll detect not just delay, but delay and polarity. We have an on-off switch here, a toggle switch, so you can check the before and after. And then we have where you can actually reverse the phase here as well manually. And then up here, we'll have a graphic display of how many samples it actually corrects each microphone on the drum kit as we get into this. So the way you use this is, again, you put this on the left overhead. We're going to play back some audio, and we're going to adjust the noise floor. The default comes like this. So you can see a bunch of kind of garbage going on down here. So we want to raise this up just above the noise floor. You can see where it's peaking up here. Okay, and then we're going to set it to send on channel 1. Okay, and then we're going to go to the right overhead, which is here. And I've already got Auto Align instantiated on all these tracks. I'm going to open this. And because we're sending on channel 1 from the left, we're going to receive on channel 1 from the right. And we're going to adjust the noise floor, which I've already done. Okay, now once the noise floor is adjusted, we're simply just going to hit this big blue detect delay and polarity button, and it'll listen to the audio, it will detect it, and when it's done, it'll stop, and then you'll see how many samples it's going to correct the phase. So here we go. Okay, so you can see it's finished now, and it corrected 71 samples, negative 71 samples. So now if we kind of flip this on and off to see if we can hear a difference, listen to the snare and the kick in particular. It's with a bypass. So So if you're listening to this on a good set of headphones or studio monitors, you should hear the snare where it gets a little bit thicker on the bottom. Now again, once we get to the snare mics, the close mics, it'll be a little bit more drastic of a difference. Hopefully, we're just listening to the two overhead mics. We're listening to the whole kit, but we just did this on one track now. So the snare gets a little bit thicker on the bottom, which you can hear. So let's close this and let's do the same thing on the left room mic. Again, we're receiving on channel 1. Let's bring up the rooms a little bit. Again, there's no processing on these tracks whatsoever. This is completely raw. Very first plugin is auto align. There's no processing, no EQ, no compression. These are the raw tracks right off the floor. Again, we're on delay polarity, receive channel 1. Let's play this back and let's detect it and see what it does. So it corrected that, a negative 614 samples. Let's flip it on and off and see if we can hear the difference with just one room mic. Let's turn it off. You can hear a difference on the kick, on the very low end of the kick. So let's do the same thing for the right room mic. Again, receive channel 1. Let's play it back and then let's detect this and see what it does. Okay, you can start to really hear the kick drum, the bottom end of that kick drum on the room mics a little bit more. So it's definitely doing something. And moved this, corrected this 630 samples. So now we got the overheads in the rooms. Let's take a look now with the close mics, with the kick and the snare, and see what it does there. Try to balance these out a little bit more, volume-wise. Okay, let's take a look. Let's start with the kick. Okay, once again, we're on receive channel 1. Let's play this back and detect it, see what it corrects. We'll bypass it here. Gonna lower the overheads and the room mics a little bit. So now you can really start to hear the kick drum really thicken up quite a bit here, which is pretty neat. So it is definitely doing something. And again, it's all going to depend on how the drum kit was recorded. This one, you know, the engineer could have taken some time to really do a good job in mic placement. Let me just double check all these, make sure we're all still where we're supposed to be. Yes, we are. Okay. So now let's take a listen to the snare and see what that does. So let's take a look at this. Again, let's play it back and detect it and see what it does here for us. Let's turn it off. So you could start to hear the real bottom end, the meaty part of the snare. Listen to that. Listen to the bottom end of the snare. Hear that difference? And turn it off again. So it brings the whole woodiness back to the snare, which is really cool. So it does make a difference. You can hear each one of these tracks is subtle, but as they build up together and everything gets into a good phase alignment, it really makes a big difference. Now let's do the bottom snare mic as well. Okay, let's play this back and detect it and see how this does. Yeah, it really makes that snare come alive, really thickens it up, and it takes any of that thin sound out of it and really makes it a lot thicker, which is great. Let's take a look at the hi-hat. Let's do that next. Okay, same kind of a deal. Let's play it back and let's detect it and let's see how many samples it moves everything. So again, it corrected the hi-hat 55 samples. And again, it just tightens everything up and makes the whole drum kit sound a lot tighter. So let's do the rack tom. Now we're going to get a lot of mic bleed in here, so let's adjust this noise floor level. Okay, corrected at 78 samples. Let's take a look at the other rack tom and then we'll be done here. Just take a look at what this is going to do. Let's make sure we got the noise floor adjusted. Again, it corrected that 48 samples. So now we've gone ahead and we've aligned our whole kit here. So let me try to do a kind of quick before and after. And again, this was pretty subtle, but across all the drums, it does make a difference. So now if we were to just shut all of these off, and there's no way in Studio One to do this with one click, unfortunately. So we got to kind of turn them on and off. So we're going to go before. We'll keep the left on, and then we're going to just I'm going to start turning them on one at a time. Again, listen for the thickness, the bottom end of the kick, the bottom end of the snare. That's really where you start to feel things get a little bit bigger and a little bit tighter. This is before. Hear the difference in the snare, how much thicker it is. even the kick drum. So that is Sound Radix Auto Align. It does a really good job at bringing everything back into phase and to make sure everything is nice and lined up and everything's nice and tight. Again, depending on who recorded the drums and how well the engineer was careful about mic placement and phase issues, this could be a lifesaver for you. This example, this drum kit was recorded fairly well, so it wasn't a drastic difference, but there's definitely a difference, especially in the bottom end of the kick and the bottom end of the snare. You can hear how the snare got a lot thicker. Now, the difference between using something like this and just putting, let's say, the mix tool by Presonus Studio One, which I can show you if you're a Studio One user, or if you're a Pro Tools user, you can use any EQ, anything with a phase flip on it. Let me get the mix tool out here and show you why you would maybe want to use this auto align. When you invert the phase here, it flips everything just 180 degrees. It doesn't, it's either on or it's off 180 degrees. Okay, with auto align, it will move it. You could be out of phase, but you may not be completely 180 degrees out of phase. You may be somewhere less or slightly more than that out of phase. So what auto align will do is auto align will get it more precise. Okay, it's more exact, and you're aligning the whole kit to a certain mic. So we aligned everything to the overhead, to the left overhead. So the whole kit is in phase with that particular microphone. So it's a more accurate way to do it. So again, go out to their website, go to Sound Radix, demo it, try it out. Check out some other YouTube videos on this. There are a lot of people that show you different ways to use this, but this definitely makes the drums sound tighter, sounds thicker, sounds a little bit more compact and a little bit more tight is the best word to describe it. So I hope this was helpful. Again, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, thank you for sharing my videos with others. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please click that button below. And for more mixing tips and for a full length 6-hour tutorial from mixing a song from start to finish, be sure to check out the link below. Go check out Mixing Made Easy. Super affordable. It's getting rave reviews, been out for 4 or 5 months now, and people are just loving it. I take you from the beginning of stages of a mix through the end. We talk about things like auto align, we talk about compression, EQ, so on and so forth. Wonderful, wonderful tutorial for you beginner and intermediate audio mix engineers. Check out Mixing Made Easy, and leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about this video and others. And until next time, this is David from VisionRecordingStudios.com.